Hi, my name is Sheila and I'm the bride.
Hi, my name's Donato and I'm the groom. The first time that I met Sheila, I was doing missionary work out in Norwalk, California.
And our friendship bloomed even more when we went to a Bible college called Souls West in 2011. And it was his second year, it was my first year. And we also worked together during the summer at a summer program that year. And we were able to just know our strengths and weaknesses as leaders and be able to lift up each other as friends.
I didn't think much about Sheila when I first met her. I knew just looking at her she was cute, and she also had just this thing about her. She was just a happy person, and I wasn't sure whether I was gonna meet her again or not. But little did I know, several weeks later, we were both part of a Youth Rush program, a summer program, for an entire 10 weeks. And during those 10 weeks is really where our friendship took place. During those 10 weeks in 2011 is when I found out that Sheila was actually about 3 years older than me. And at that point, I kind of made a decision to say, you know, she'll be a good older sister to me, an ate. And that's kind of how we treated each other for the next several years. I know during that Youth Rush program, I got to see a lot more about Sheila that attracted me to her as a friend. I saw how loyal she was, how caring she was, and how helpful she was. She wasn't just there for herself to see what she can gain, but she was there to make sure that everybody had a good experience. And it was something that her and I connected with, just someone that I know that I can rely on as well as a friend.
It actually took us a while to realize that we like each other, because it did start in December of 2011. But there were a lot of questions in mind whether or not we're good for each other, and it took a lot of prayers and asking you questions, getting more detail about who he is or who I am. And it took us over a year to decide whether or not we should be together, we should go forward in this relationship or not.
After I had told Sheila that I had an interest in her, not just a friendship, but a little something more, a couple of objections came to our minds. One of the biggest ones was knowing that we had such a good friendship for 2.5 years. We didn't want to just see that go down the drain by going into a relationship, and then afterwards, if things didn't work out, maybe things going awkward, and then we just go our separate ways. We really wanted our friendship to last because we felt that that's kind of what was pulling us to want to be in a relationship in the first place, because we had so much fun together and so many things in common. And so we took our time. We took about a year from one December to another December before we finally were willing to take the next step and to talk to Sheila's parents. Sheila had talked to me about her family, which I had met at different times, and she kind of had me scared about Daddy Victor. He She had me saying how, you know, her dad would not be okay with it because she was still going to school and I hadn't got through school. And so we were kind of nervous about what was gonna happen. And so sure enough, in December 31st of 2014, we made the decision to go forward, and we set up a dinner time that we get to meet with Daddy Victor and Mom Lena. I remember just being really nervous. My heart was pounding really fast, and when I was gonna ask the question, can I date your daughter? And to my surprise, Daddy Victor, he just said yes. And I was kind of confused, you know, because the yes went so fast. I had to ask again, you know. It's like, wait, did you say it was okay for Sheila and I to be dating? And sure enough, he said yes again.
So when we started dating in January 1st of 2015, you know, we were really excited, but we didn't know what was ahead of us. And honestly, no relationship is perfect. I mean, we both had expectations. I expected, you know, Christian relationship, it's gonna be like a walk in the park. And knowing that, but realizing that we have our differences and that we're both not perfect. We also had some problems and struggles in our relationship. One thing though I appreciate about him is that he is very understanding and very patient too.
One of the biggest objections while we were dating is, you know, we wanted to get married. We wanted to be married already, but you know, Sheila was still going to school and I was just a missionary, and we really didn't have the means to you know, start a family, you know, to live together and have a home of our own.
You know, ever since we started getting together, we started dating, he always mentions like, hey Sheila, one day I'm gonna marry you. And so I'm like, okay, well, when is that? When's that day gonna be? He was going through some things too, and he decided to go to the Marine Corps. And to me, I'm like, man, Marine Corps, it's gonna be a lot of training, and you know, maybe when he gets in there and when he gets out, he's not gonna be the same person. And that's one of the things that I was really scared about.
And I remember that first week, or maybe the second week in there, I was asking myself like, whoa, you know, how did I get here from being, you know, a missionary, and now I'm here a recruit in boot camp. And I remembered that it was Sheila. I was here because of Sheila.
We prayed about it, and lots of prayer and lots of counseling too. And finally, he went to boot camp in the Marine Corps. I think it was in January of 2016, and I didn't get to see him until April of the first week of April. And the first thing I saw him, he it's been a long time, and during that period from January to April, all I was relying on was is his love letters, because that's what we had to communicate. How we communicated was just letters. I would write 5 letters, and he would just write like 1 letter out of all the letters that I sent him, and only because their schedule was really, really busy. But when I saw him in his graduation, physically he was different, but inside he was still the same. His personality did not change, which is good.
So I finished boot camp, and I was pretty much at the end of my training, And during that whole time, I was saying, well, I'm done, like I made it. And, there's really, in my mind, there's nothing holding us back from getting married. And so, I kept bringing it up to Sheila, and Sheila kept being nervous because, again, she was nervous to see what Daddy Victor would say. And so, we, after talking through it again and again and again, we finally made the decision that it was time. It was time to bring it up to her parents to see what they would say. And so I made a foolproof presentation, and I was ready to present it. And so it was after church. We were waiting downstairs in the living room, and Sheila had told her mom that to tell her dad, Daddy Victor, that I wanted to talk to him. And I think we both knew that he kind of knew what was about to happen. And so he was kind of reluctant, I guess, because he didn't want to come downstairs. And so we waited and waited and waited, and I was pretty much ready to go. I was kind of a little disappointed because he wasn't coming down. And finally, before I left, he actually came down, and I was able to give him the whole presentation, tell him what would happen if Sheila were to marry me, and the different benefits that we had in the military. And after the presentation, I asked him, is there any questions? And he said, no.
And we were both nervous. We didn't know what my dad was gonna say. But when the dad said, well, Sheila's already old enough to get married, and it seems like these benefits are really gonna help her finish her school, because I wasn't finished with school yet. And also, it will also help you guys to be more stable. Then yeah, sure. And we were surprised. We're like, oh wow, okay, that was kind of easy. And we thank God for that, and we prayed. My mom too. She was okay with it. She said, I'm okay with it. I said yes, as long as your dad is okay with it.
And so the next day, I had a whole plan. We went into a helicopter ride that started off in the San Fernando Valley. We flew over Malibu and flew over downtown LA, circled it around, and before we got there, we were over the ocean and just looking out into the sky and the sun. And that's when I asked Sheila, will you marry me? And her answer was yes, yes, a million times yes. And so from that time, we had a short wedding, a small wedding out in North Carolina, and now we've been married for 10 months. But we didn't want to just have that experience that we had. We wanted to share it with all our friends and all our families, and that's why we're here today. Our hashtag is GDS 2017. The G stands for God, the D for Donato, and the S for Sheila. It's kind of our little logo or motto, because this relationship is founded in God, and it's a kind of our love triangle. It's not just a relationship that we have between each other, but a relationship that we have with God. And we're so thankful to look into the future, knowing that if we have God as our foundation, our relationship will not only last, but it would be a relationship that lasts, full of love and respect towards each other.